A Lincoln woman suffered a severe beating 2 days after filing a protection order against her assailant, according to police. Officers arrested 34-year-old Richard Thomas on Thursday. He is charged with 1 count of first-degree assault and 1 count of assault by strangulation. Police were called to a home near 28th and F Streets on January 8th around 5:30 p.m. on a report of an assault. Authorities spoke with a woman at the home with visible injuries to her neck. She told officers that Thomas had entered her home unannounced and without her permission through an unlocked door before attacking her, an arrest affidavit shows. The woman who knew Thomas filed a protection order against him on January 6th, which was served the same day and prohibited him from bothering her. Thomas entered the apartment and asked for cigarettes, the woman said. She told him to leave, and he expressed his frustration with the protection order. Police said the woman had a phone in her hand, but Thomas knocked it away before she could call 911. He then told her, quote, "I will make sure you don't call the cops," end quote. He ran up to her and put his hands around her throat, strangling her until she couldn't breathe 2 times, police said. Officers wrote that Thomas then pulled his arm back and punched the woman 5 to 6 times as hard as he could. The punches landed against her rib cage. The arrest affidavit then shows that Thomas stripped the woman of her pants and then dragged her across the floor. As she was being pulled, someone knocked on the door. Thomas told the woman to keep quiet before slipping out of the apartment, police wrote. A neighbor had heard the commotion next door and called 911 for help. The neighbor knew that Thomas had assaulted the woman before and he feared for her safety, police said. The protection order alleges Thomas had been threatening and assaulting the woman since October. The neighbor went to knock on the door and ran back to his apartment, hoping Thomas would think police were at the door. Following the assault, the woman told officers she thought Thomas would have killed her if her neighbor hadn't intervened. Though she was injured, the woman initially refused medical assistance. First responders returned to the home on January 12th when the woman suffered excruciating pain from her injuries. At the hospital, officials discovered she'd been suffering from life-threatening injuries, including 2 rib fractures and internal bleeding. She underwent emergency surgery for her injuries. Police said she is expected to survive, but the injuries are likely to have lasting effects. Hospital officials said the injuries were consistent with blunt force trauma to the ribs. Thomas was taken into custody weeks later and lodged in the Lancaster County Jail. He is scheduled for a court hearing Thursday afternoon.
1011 News is everywhere. Download our smart TV apps and follow us on social media at 1011 News.